In this package, Governor Domi Manuel flags off the construction of 5-kilometer Mbok-Okat Road. House of Assembly approves the restructuring of 64.5 billion naira loan owed commercial banks by the state government to federal government bonds. And state government signs memorandum of understanding with Maritime Workers Union and other water transport unions. We have details of these and other stocks. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. My name is Mando Esenabo, and welcome you to the news at dawn. The construction of the 5-kilometer Mbok-Okat Road in Ona local government area has been flagged off by the state governor, Mr. Domi Manuel. Our government house bureau chief Colonel Ede Refrete reports that the event was more of a homecoming for the governor as he danced with the women of the area.
Governor said the construction of the road is a necessity because of its economic value, especially as it would grant access to the beach, which produces the land in the state. The governor said the poor state of the road, which he noted, allow him as residents of the late first Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly while on a condolence visit to his family, stressed that his administration is committed affecting lives of the people positively. He assured the people the road will be completed and commissioned before March next year and commended the people for their show of love in turning out en masse to welcome and his entourage. The governor used the occasion to urge the people to be moved by propaganda to lose faith in his government, saying his governance will flow as it should be and as willed by God, adding that he will not fail them.
I discovered the economic value of this road up to the beach. A lot of economic value derivable from this road. The best land grazing is along this beach. And this road has a finger that could lead us to East-West Road. So I could not ignore it. I say immediately we have to move in here. I want to assure the people of Ona that before March next year, after the contractor, I must commission this road.
Earlier, the Minister for Works, Mr. Ephraim Yangayen, had said that the Udom Emmanuel administration places priority on the construction of the road for the number of economic activities its being repaired will bring to the area. Mr. Yangayen, who commended the governor for approving the construction of the road, called on indigents of the area to cope the contractor by not interfering with the progress of the work, but rather channel their money to proper priority for solution.
And we want to assure the community that with their cooperation, 10 months will be 10 months precisely. And we want to once again appeal to the youth, the elders, the women, that if there are issues, the contractors should not be confronted.
Ministry of Works, Dr. Ifreke Ekpa, assured the governor of consistency on the his ministry, which is overseeing the execution of the while the clan head of Nongdem, Chief Akpaneno, the member representing Ona in the State House of Assembly, Otuekong Nsesien, and the chairman Ona Local Government Transition Committee, Mr. Uforokpan, commended the governor for including Ona on the list of areas to be blessed in his first 100 days in office. They assured him of the cooperation of the even as they called for more for the area.
Promoting economic activities and social interaction, control of erosion and flooding, as well as enhancing free flow of traffic, especially along the East-West Route.
And I did promise that he will never disappoint. And today is the confirmation of that pledge I made
So even the people of Rwanda local government, that this market that we hold is a veritable market.
So I really believe, I'm very hopeful and optimistic. Before the AGS finishes, you are going to make Akwa Ibom State the China of Africa.
Colonel Adam Efreti, report.
The state government has signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with the Maritime Workers Union, Seamen, National Inland Waterways, NIWA, and Water Transport Workers Union, Akwa Ibom State Branch, for the smooth operation of the maritime sector. The Commissioner for Transport, Prince Godwin Tugude, signed on behalf of the state government, while the Chairman, Maritime Workers Union, Comrade Esenefretwe, signed for the unions. Correspondent reports that the Commissioner for Transport, Prince Godwin Tugude, explained that the MOU is to establish a good working relationship between the state government and the water transporters.
Speaking after signing the MOU, Prince Tugude said the measure was part of effort by the state governor, Mr. Udumi Emmanuel, to integrate the marine sector into the mainstream of government for the overall good of seamen in Akwa Ibom people. Prince Tugude explained that the document will create a synergy between the maritime workers and government through the ministry, noting that government recognized marine transporters as integral partners in the process of developing the state's economy. The commissioner charged the union leaders to work with the consultant engaged by the state government, discuss challenges, and share ideas to chart the way forward for smooth operations on the high sea. He assured that the involvement of consultants as a direct interface between government and the Maritime Workers Union will in no way hinder their operations, but is aimed at promoting a more cordial relationship between maritime operators and government. Prince Tugude also inaugurated and presented 400 safety vests and fire extinguishers to the Maritime Workers Union on behalf of the governor, Mr. Udumi Emmanuel. He said the safety materials procured by government is for use by seafarers and passengers eyeing Akwa Ibom to cross river, Cameroon, and other neighboring countries via the waterways. He urged them to use the items to ensure safety of commuters on the high sea.
As far as the Ministry of Transport is concerned, you become a subset of that ministry, and therefore a very important working ally which the ministry has to work with in order to maximally deliver on its ministerial responsibilities, especially as it concerns the marine subsector.
The chairman, Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Seamen, National Inland Waterways, NIWA, in water transport, Comrade Esenefretwe, thanked the state government, Emmanuel, for his gesture.
So my business is for me to sign the MOU with the Ministry of Transport, Marine Department. We have agreed to work with them.
The 64.5 billion naira loan owed commercial banks by the state government is to be restructured into federal government bonds. The State House of Assembly gave the approval for the restructuring of the loan at its plenary following the adoption of recommendations of the Committee of the Whole House. The Chairman House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Dr. Osoro Akwanuso, who presented the report of the committee, said the Commissioner for Finance appeared before his committee and explained details of the commercial bank loans of the state. The committee chairman said he considered the benefits the restructuring of the loan would bring to the state and recommended the approval. During the deliberations, Otuekonse Esiensa Nsentuen, Prince Idonse Ituen, and Seudor Kiranakwa supported the motion, describing it as the right step in the right direction. They said the state government should be encouraged to key into the goodwill of the federal government, noting that the loan was properly channeled to meet the yearnings of the people. The legislators commended Governor Dom Emmanuel for his financial expertise, which would further pave the way for industrial revolution in the state. With the approval, the interest rate on the loan would now be very minimal, and a repayment period extended over a long period. Under the arrangement, Akwa Ibom said is expected to save enough money for other development projects. The Speaker, Elder Nyekan Uko, directed the Clerk of the House to communicate the decision of the House to the executive arm for necessary action. Governor Dom Emmanuel had last week sought the approval of the State House of Assembly to restructure commercial banks' loans of the state into federal government bonds. Constituted for the hearing of 2016 budget estimates has harped on 4 cardinal points which ministries, departments and agencies must meet in next year's budget. The 4 cardinal points, according to the representative of the chairman of the committee, Pastor Nicholas Ekariga, are enlightenment, education, empowerment and enforcement. Hearing of Paul was at the budget defense on Tuesday.
Pastor Nicholas Ekariga stated that with the 4E cardinal points, the revenue projection in the 2016 budget will be realized. Pastor Ekariga maintained that the present administration will not give up on free and compulsory education, empowerment of youth and women, creating awareness and ensuring that the laws of the land are upheld and respected, which makes the 4 cardinal points. The Permanent Secretary cited a case presented by the Minister of Works during the hearing where a consultant acted on behalf of government, impounding vehicles, trucks and tippers, and generating a huge sum of money for himself every day, stressing that in such situations, the law has to be enforced. Pastor Ekariga called for a thorough investigation of the consultant and his illegal dealings and directed the Minister of Works to present a comprehensive report to the committee in 2 weeks for action.
From the report of Minister of Works, we have not seen the revenue. And because of the performance sheet that we analyzed from Minister of Works, over $1 million have not been paid into government. And Minister of Works is directed to ravage it and report back to the budget committee.
The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Works, had earlier decried the slow pace of revenue generation due to the consultant who he said extorted money from people in the name of government and appealed to the committee to make room for stoppage of such illegal business. The ministry also mentioned ways in which it will generate revenue next year to include implementation of rights of way, weighing of tippers and trucks, collection of rent as well as mechanical maintenance. Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic Ikorosora was next to face the committee where the Deputy Rector raised the issue of employment of personnel. He refuted the allegation put on by the committee that the institution has lost her accreditation, describing it as false.
We have not lost any accreditation. All our programs are fully accredited. Some programs are actually due in September, and my rector is going to MBT in Kaduna, and they'll be coming for reaccreditation of those programs. So
the State Universal Basic Education Board, led by the Permanent Secretary, Pastor Prezo Kon, also made appearance. Cases of free education, promotion of personnel who do not merit, and fake LPC came to the floor by the committee. Pastor Prezo Kon, on behalf of the board, said those issues no more come up in his administration, but spoke on the board expectation in 2016 budget.
We have made explanations because we realize that there are some areas that have been very strongly misconstrued, and this has given us the opportunity to explain things for the understanding of the budget office. And so we are very hopeful that the result is going to be very, very satisfactory.
Others that made appearance were Internal Revenue Service, State Technical Schools Board, Scholarship Board, State Education Board, Ministry of Culture and Tourism, as well as Ministry of Transport. At the closing of Tuesday's hearing, the Permanent Secretary, State Budget Office, spoke on the deliberation so far and the closing date for the hearing.
We still have some ministries which by virtue of exigency of their ministry, they were unable to meet their deadline. We'll open it up to Friday. And of course, we are breaking new grounds for new revenue for the state.
AKBC 45 News observed that as the deadline for the hearing draws closer, ministries that did not defend their estimates hung around the premises of the State Budget Office till 10 o'clock in the night. Iyagino Paul reporting.
We now take a break. We'll be back with more reports. Please join us again.
We are a threatened generation, stalked in the consciousness of militarization. Failure to debrief our citizens leads to impunity on the part of leadership. The greatest office is neither that of the executive nor the legislature, but the citizens. Democracy returns power to the people. State of the nation, updating your political consciousness for political relevance and proper integration.
Thank you for your time, and these are the rest of the reports this morning. The head of Civil Service, Mrs. Cecilia Odoisian, has acknowledged the contributions by the Nigeria Union of Civil Service secretarial and stenographic workers in the development of the state. Receiving the newly chapter executive of the union in the office of the head of Civil Service, Mrs. Odoisian said she was impressed with the efforts by the secretarial and stenographic workers in ensuring prompt and effective service delivery. She reminded them of the need to adhere to the ethics of that profession by always keeping official secrets of government, and congratulated new officers on their election. The chairman of the Nigeria Union of Civil Service Secretarial and Stenographic Workers Office of the Head of Civil Service, Comrade Mary Frem, thanked Mrs. Odoisian for her motherly advice and support to the union. The Head of Civil Service also received members of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State branch, where she assured them of her assistance to the successful hosting of the forthcoming public sector forum. Also this morning, the maxim, God's blessings make rich and adds no sorrows, was not enough to comfort Mr. Samuel Effiong, an indigent arts son, whose wife was delivered of a set of triplets, a boy and two girls, at Imabon Missionary Outreach Medical Center, Mbak Ekwe in Ibesikwa Sultan local government area. AKBC TV understands that the atmosphere was a mixture of joy and apprehension, as Mr. Effiong, father of the triplet, who already has a 9-year-old son, alternated between gratitude and fear of providing for their babies. The triplet's father was full of thanks to God for the life of his wife and safe delivery of the babies, but could not hold back his fears on means of raising them. He called on government and well-to-do individuals to come to his aid, saying that what is expected to keep the babies was far beyond his reach.
Government, the individual, any one, requiring money, or to the main come and the tom. In the only gathering, but it's only one minute, come and the tommy. That has no yard.
His wife and mother of the babies, Mrs. Victory Samuel Effiong, was full of thanks to God for the safe delivery, but appealed for help from concerned citizens to enable the family provide for the babies as her husband lacked the financial ability. The medical officer of Imambong Missionary Outreach Medical Center, Dr. A.O. Odu, who took delivery of the babies, narrated how the woman was brought in and the hospital's efforts at delivering the baby safely despite the parents' inability to meet their financial obligations.
Multiple pregnancies, we know that it's a challenge to the family person, and at the hospital we have to do our own business. And so we thank God for the safe delivery, and if our baby was surgically delivered and automatically, they will still need assistance. And breastfeeding, especially breastfeeding in this case, as we are going to, we have already suggested that the patient in question will benefit, the children will benefit from complementary feeding at a special mark.
Friends and relatives were also on hand to thank God for His benevolence towards the family and were quick to join the plea for help.